Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 21st of May. Today the front line was stable. Just a few updates on the map, so let's discuss them. The first update came today from Liman area. This is the Liman area. This is the Liman area. Liman is located on the north from town Kramatorsk and Slaviansk. And Liman area is located on the east side from Izum bridgehead. This is the Liman area. Yesterday in the evening, the Russians established control over the town Yeremivka. This is the town. And this morning, they announced that they established control over the town Studionok. This one. And they said that Ukrainian forces were moved towards Svetogorsk, Sosnovo Yarova. So we can say that starting today, the Ukrainian forces control just the area around Svetogorsk. So let's update this map. So this is the territory that is under the Russian control, under the Russians, and this is the territory under Ukrainians. And that's the most update for today in this area. Another important update in Severodonetsk. First of all, the Russians destroyed the bridge between Lysychansk and Severodonetsk. This is the Lysychansk agglomeration. And today the Russians destroyed this bridge. And this was the only bridge that connected the Lysychansk and Severodonetsk. And from now on, the Ukrainian forces that located in this area, in Severodonetsk, Sirotyne, Mytolkine, and Borivske, has no longer any connection between them and the big land. I can say that it was the first bridge that was destroyed by the Russians. And they understand that the storm assault operation of this area would be very difficult, and it would be much difficult if this area has some support, some supplies from Lysychansk. So that's why they decided to destroy this bridge. First of all, of course, because of that fact that if Ukrainians decide to leave this area, anyway they will destroy this bridge. So that's why the Russians, they attacked this area with their artillery, and from now on we can say that this area is cut from this territory. And of course it will ease the offensive operation, the Russians' offensive operation in this area. And as far as I know, in Severodonetsk, Mytolkine, Sirotyne, Borivske, there are around 5,000 of Ukrainian soldiers here. So we'll see what's next. No news from Popasnaya area. The Russians are trying to establish a stable bridgehead in this area. They're clearing all the territory around this town, around Popasna, around this red zone, and at least Russian sources, they're not updating this area, all this area between the green line and the gray line with red color, because they're just waiting for some improvements. Because first the Ukrainians, they were pushed from this area, but of course they did some local counter-offensive operation, and maybe some towns they have returned, or maybe they're in the gray zone. So for now on, we are waiting for improvements and updates from this area. Today, I would like to discuss with you one more time the Izum area. This is one of the most important area, and we discussed this area many times in the past. And as we can see, there are almost no movements in this area. The Russians, they established control over Izum. They took small bridgehead in this area, and that's it. And many of us are asking themselves the question, what's going on? This operation was announced as one of the most important encircling operation, and as we see, there is no movement here. We are asking ourselves, or the Ukrainians are so effective in this area, or the Russians, they can't break the defense area in this territory. So, for example, I don't have any answer on this question. I'm sure that nobody has. We just can sit and wait the progress and development in this area But today I would like to discuss with you this same Izium operation, and maybe this discussion will help us to understand the real purpose and the real goals of the Russians in this area. Maybe this operation, the thing that we are planning to discuss next, will help us to understand the Ukrainian situation in this area, and so on. If you remember, somewhere around a month ago, I told you that this Izium operation is not the first operation for the Russians in this area. I told you that in 1942, the Russians they established the bridgehead in this area at the first time. It was in 1942. It was the second battle for the Kharkiv. This is the operation of 1942. This is our Severodonetsk river. This is the river. If you see this small back, this is our forest. If you take a look at this map, this is the forest. This is it. Yes, you see this, something like similar. And the Russians in 1942, it was, as I told you, the second battle for the Kharkiv. And for example, this is the Kharkiv. So the Russians in 1942, they were planning to establish a bridgehead in this area. It was, we can say, like one of the first Russian offensive operation towards the very powerful German forces that were fencing them and pushing Russians back. And in 1942, the Russians established the bridgehead, as we can see, the same bridgehead right now. It's like almost the same thing. The Russians established control over this territory in 1942 as well. But the same operation, almost the same operation, the Russians did in 1943. They also established some bridgehead over the Izium area. If you see this small back, it's Izium. You can find it here as well. This is the river. This is Izium. So in 1943, the Russians did the same. They established the bridgehead, but in 1943, it wasn't the battle for Kharkiv. It was an attempt to encircle the German forces that located in Slavyansk-Kramatorsk area. As we can see, that this area these days in 2022 is under the Ukrainian control. And I showed these maps like a month ago, but I didn't tell you anything about the result of those operations. But today I think that it's time to discuss. You need to understand that in 1942, like in the second battle for Kharkiv, the Russian was completely defeated in this area. So we can say that in this operation, in this Izium operation, the Izium bridgehead operation in 1942, the Russians were completely defeated in this area. And in 2022, we are saying that this is one of the most important area, and I'm telling you that it's not the first operation for the Russians in this area. So where is the point? What is all about? For example, in 1943, the Russians were defeated as well. They were defeated, maybe not completely. For example, in 1942, there were around 240,000 of Soviet soldiers in this area. You see, the Russians established some back. They managed to capture Barvenkovo, for example. Even they reached Lozovaya. They reached Balakleya, they took Izium, they managed to cross, to move on the edge of Slavyansk-Kramatorsk. They didn't took, by the way, these towns. So they established almost the same control from Balakleya towards this town. There is Barvenkovo. So all this area was under Soviet control, but they were defeated. As I repeat myself, there was around 240,000 soldiers, and they created this back. And in 1942, in May, this back was destroyed by the German forces. And as I know, around 200,000 soldiers, Soviet soldiers, were defeated, surrounded, and they were moved to the Germans. They were prisoners. In 1943, there were much less operation. There were around, as I know, just 60,000 soldiers. And they were also defeated, and the Russians didn't achieve their plans, the things that they were planning to do. For example, in 1942, the Russians, as you see, there is a Kharkiv on the north. See, there is a Kharkiv here. So they were trying to establish the bridgehead, and using this bridgehead, they were planning to circle Kharkiv group, German Kharkiv soldiers, and it was like their first attempt of offensive operation, but they failed. In 1943, the Russians were planning to encircle Lysychansk-Kramatorsk area. So the operation of 1943 is almost the same operation as we can see in 2022. It was almost the same. The German forces were located in this area as well, as today we see that Ukrainian forces located here. And there was almost the same picture on the front line. As you can see on this map, this is the front line. Liman was on the Russians. You see the river Seversky Donetsk. The Slaviansk, Lysychansk was under the German control. Almost the same picture as we can see right now. And in 1943, the Russians were defeated here as well. So what's the point? Why do the Russians do the same thing almost like after 100 years? And what are they thinking about? If they were defeated 2 times in a row, why do they think they are able to achieve success on the 3rd time? They're doing the same thing. First they established bridgehead over Izum. Now they're moving from Izum towards, as we know, as it's announced all over the media, that they want to encircle this area from Izum towards, for example, Donetsk, to establish this cauldron. But they couldn't do this in 1942, 1943. And I'll explain to you. If you take a look at the Wikipedia and you read this operation of Izum-Barvenkovskaya operation of 1943, you will see that Wikipedia says that the Russians didn't achieve their goal in this operation. They were completely defeated, but there is one important note in this article. You will see, if you read this article, maybe I read this article in Russian, maybe in the English version there is a little bit difference, I'm not sure, but I'm trying to tell you that in the Russian version. And according to this operation of 1943, of this operation, the Russians were defeated, but they forced the German forces in this area to move here around 5 tank divisions and 1 motorized division to this area. So we can say that in 1943 there was a breakthrough near Izum. They established this bridgehead, and there was a very big risk and very big possibility that entire German forces that located in this area might be encircled. So that's why the German command, they decided to weaken their front lines in other places and move here their 5 tank divisions and 1 motorized division. And with help of those reinforcements, they stopped the Russian attack. They destroyed the Russians in this area and pushed them back. But it's just the first note, so we understand that there was a breakthrough in 1943. As we see right now, the breakthrough in 2022, the Russians, they established bridgehead. The German forces in 1943, they moved here their reinforcement, a very powerful reinforcement, 5 tank division, 1 motorized. And with help of those reinforcements, they stopped the Russians and pushed them back. The second note of this article was that the Russians didn't achieve their goal to encircle this army, but they helped. They did a very big job, big help, I don't know how to say, for other front lines. To be more precise, they helped to Voronezh front line. They helped Voronezh front line to defeat Germans on the Kursk. First of all, to defend themselves on the Kursk. And the second thing that they did with this Izum-Barvenkov operation 1943, they helped to the same Voronezh front line to start their counteroffensive operation. Not just the counteroffensive operation, you can say lines of counteroffensive operations. And all these lines, in the end of everything, leads the Soviet army towards the Berlin. Now let's discuss about this operation 1943 as we are discussing in 2022. You know that if you are familiar with the game of chess, there is very interesting position in chess. And this position has the name of Zugzwang. Maybe some of you are familiar with this position, Zugzwang. If you don't know what's this, I'll try to explain to you. Zugzwang is the position in chess when no matter what your enemy do in the next step, no matter what your enemy do in the next step, the situation of your enemy after the next step will be worse than it was before this step. So we can say that Izium is not the situation when everything falls and that's it. No, Izium creates, the Russian Izium creates for the Ukrainians, if you're talking about the chess, of Tsutsvang. We can say that Ukrainians appears on their front line in Tsutsvang situation. That means that no matter what are they going to do next, as soon as Russians establish control over Izium, no matter what are they planning to do next, every other step will create much worse situation than they are right now. So let's discuss in more details. We see that the Russians establish control over Izium, and the Ukrainians have two options. First of all, or they're moving towards Izium all they have reinforcement, as the Germans did in 1943, and they will stop the Russians in this area, or they won't do this and they will move all their reinforcements, let's say, towards Popasnaya. Or in 1943, if the Germans didn't move all their reinforcements towards Izium, but they moved all their tank divisions towards Kursk. It's Tsutsvang. If the Germans did that, they moved their forces towards Kursk, they would have a breakthrough in Izium and a very big possibility of being encircled. Or the Ukrainians in 2022, if they didn't throw all their forces, all their reinforcements towards Izium to stop them, to not allow the Russians to take control over Barvinkovo, over Slaviansk, over Kramatorsk, I don't know, over this road that connects Balakleya and this area, not to give them possibility to attack Lazovaya and cross this area. If they didn't do this, the Russians would establish control over this territory. But they did this. And we see that the Russians had a very significant success in Popasnaya. Because, as we know, the Ukrainians, at the most critical time, they didn't have reinforcement there. They didn't have forces to stop this attack. So this is the value of Izium. This is the Ukrainian Tsutsvang. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, and enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.